The Lakers are ready for war. We're talking more Lakers, Wolves, round one. Also, the Clippers and Nuggets, everything you need to know about that series. And UCLA ends up with Nico, Iamaleava. We're going to talk about that. Also, the Kings fire their GM. Dame is back. The NBA playoffs are almost here. All that more coming up next on The Big Lead. What is up, and welcome to another episode of the Big Lead Podcast. Everything you need to know in the world of sports in less than an hour. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. If you're new to the Big Lead, this is the show to watch. Everything you need to know, all the hottest stories in sports, on the court, off the court, things that other shows might not touch on, we will definitely be doing it here. And we are doing a giveaway. Once we get to 2,000 subscribers, we are giving away a Luka Doncic Lakers number 77 Nike Authentic jersey. And all you have to do to be eligible to win is comment Luka Magic down below. And then once you do that, you're eligible to win. So go ahead and do that. And that's where we're going to start the show today. We're talking more Lakers, and the Lakers, according to Austin Reeves, are ready for war. Austin Reeves said that you can't take any possessions off. And at the end of the day, we got a group of guys that are just ready to go to war. There's a difference in being ready to go to war by yourself than being ready to go to war with your team. We're locked in as a group and ready to go and compete. So this makes me feel like JJ Redick has this team ready to run through a brick wall. That this team views that, hey, they view this series, look, there's no easy competition in the Western Conference. And the Wolves are a very talented and formidable opponent. There's no doubt about it. I think the Wolves are getting enough credit for how good of a team they are. Only the Oklahoma City Thunder have a better record in the Western Conference since March 1st. The Wolves, 17-4. In that span, they have the NBA's second-rated offense, 121.9 points per 100 possessions. Oh, is the defense good? Yes, it is. They have the second-rated offense and the seventh-rated defense, 110.7 points allowed per 100 possessions. DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, Alexander Walker. I mean, they have depth. You have a star in Anthony Edwards. You have Julius Randle. You have veterans like Mike Conley Jr. This is a Timberwolves team that won 49 games. And I think what it's going to come down to is the stars of the Lakers, the two-man game with LeBron and Austin Reeves, and making it the trio with Luka Doncic. Which stars are going to perform the best? And can Anthony Edwards play better than he has against the Lakers throughout his career? Anthony Edwards has not played great against the Lakers in his career. This season, 4 games, averaging 19 points per game, shooting 40% from the field, 32.3% from beyond the arc. 17 games against the purple and gold in his career, 21.8 points per game, 41.4% shooting, 33.8% from beyond the arc. They need Ant to go absolutely crazy, and they need him to take advantage of mismatches. And I think what you're going to see from the Minnesota Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards is they're going to look to get him in the most advantageous matchups as they can. They're going to try to ball him up if you're the Lakers, but I think what they're going to try to do is Edwards is going to switch off of Finney Smith and try to get into those pick and roll matchups where can you get Luka Doncic? Can you get LeBron James? Because yeah, we know that offensively what Luka and LeBron and Austin Reeves can do, but defensively, Anthony Edwards has the advantage in those matchups if you can get that switch onto him. So if Anthony Edwards is ready for the task, if he is going to be playing to a level that says, okay, I'm going to take a leap, I do think that the Minnesota Timberwolves have a chance. But I like what I'm hearing from the Lakers side, and that is that they're ready to go to war. And I do think that there's a closeness about this Lakers team that we haven't felt since 2020, since the bubble championship, where there was no doubt about the direction of this franchise, right? Back then it was LeBron, it was Anthony Davis. Now it's Luka Doncic and LeBron. We know that LeBron James, when he's at his best, still a top 10 player in this league. But I think that there has been this kind of almost silent passing of the torch from LeBron to Luka Doncic, knowing that Luka can give LeBron one more ring before he hangs him up. I think LeBron understands at this point that, hey, for this Lakers team to win, I have to be great. I have to be elite, but Luka Doncic has to be our best player. And I think that LeBron is such a smart player that he realizes that. And I think he's embracing that. And I think the other big X factor, Julius Randle, former Laker. He's second on Minnesota as far as scoring, 18.7 a game, rebounding. And believe it or not, he leads them with 4.7 assists per game. And the way they use Julius Randle is isolations on the perimeter, on the post. And as has been really the case of Randle ever since he's been with the Lakers too, is if he's hitting his jump shot, if he can make that mid-range shot, things open up for him. He's also shooting 34.4% from beyond the arc on 4.6 attempts per game. So will the Lakers kind of force him into being that jump shooter and hope that he misses? If that's the case, then I think they're going to be in a good spot. So really, I think for this series, I do think it's going to be more competitive than a lot of Lakers fans are hoping for. But I also think that's a really good test early on to see the potential of this team. Because you look at the Lakers' big three, they can create advantages in this series. The focus has been on Luka, but LeBron and Austin Reeves, they can create those mismatches as well. And it's going to be an exciting series. I think just right now, that's my thought right now, is that Anthony Edwards, you need to level up if you want to win this series. On the Lakers end, you just need to be the Lakers. You just need to go out there and perform up to your players' capabilities. Whereas Minnesota, to win this series, yes, you have depth. Yes, you have more size. You have the Lakers only having one playable big, essentially. But they just have to be the Lakers. They can win this series. Minnesota, then they have to be on another level. And we'll see. Anthony Edwards, can he be that guy? Is he ready to take that leap? I think he has the potential to, but it's going to be a lot riding on him in this series. I think either way, it's a great series for him to grow. Even if they lose, it's a good evaluation tool for that organization to see what they need to put around him. But switching gears to the Clippers versus the Denver Nuggets. This is the series that everyone's talking about as far as teams being closely matched up to one another. This is a fascinating series. And I think the first thing you got to talk about is not Nikola Jokic, even though he's still, in my eyes, the best player in this league. By the way, I think Adelman might watch the show because I don't know if you saw what he said. He actually said that if Jokic doesn't win the MVP, it'd be the best season for a player in history that didn't win the MVP. I think I heard that somewhere. That's right. I said that. So shout out to Adelman watching the show. Appreciate you, David. But I think for me, this is a matchup of strength on strength. The Nuggets, you had a top 5 offense. Clippers, top 5 defense. They split the season series. 3 of 4 games were in Denver. And that's where the first round is going to open up. And Denver hasn't been as good in Denver of late this season compared to when they won the title. But they're in disarray. You don't have Mike Malone. You got David Adelman. He's got the keys. And I think it's going to come down to, is this a coming out party? I mean, we talk about the Lakers. JJ Redick all of a sudden can do no wrong. He's the new Pat Riley. He's the new it coach in the NBA after just one season. And for anyone that thinks that you need 2 or 3, 4 years, you need to sit on the bench for a decade to be a good coach in the NBA. No, you just need players to buy in. You need players to embrace your system, and you can have success early on. And Adelman is a head coach that could be a star in this league, but he's got a lot of questions that he needs to answer. How do you defend James Harden, Kawhi Leonard? How do you prevent guys like Norman Powell from having big games? How many minutes do you give Russell Westbrook? How short of a leash do you give Russell Westbrook? You saw what he can do to coaches. And then I think, too, it's who is on the floor when Nikola Jokic isn't. When the Joker is not on the floor, what do they do? And I think that is going to ultimately determine if the Nuggets can win this series. Because when Joker is on the floor, the Nuggets are a title contender. When he's off, they're a lottery team. It's the fourth straight season, the fourth season in a row where Nikola Jokic, he leads the NBA in on-off differential. And the Nuggets have been 19.8 points per 100 possessions better with him on the floor, and a plus, wait for it, minus 10.5 when he's off the floor. So you're looking at a plus 19.8 to a negative 10.5. When he's off the floor, they're a lottery team. When he's on the floor, they're a title contender. Who steps up? And I think the most fascinating thing for the Clippers, I think the most tantalizing, intriguing thing is Kawhi Leonard looks like he's healthy. And yes, people have said the Kawhi contract has been a bust for the Clippers. I disagree. I don't throw out the bust word out there because he has played. If he never played, Anthony Bennett's a bust, right? Kawhi Leonard's not a bust. He's been injured. If you could squeeze one deep run, if you could squeeze one finals appearance, if you could squeeze one championship out of Kawhi Leonard and even just give them hope for it, I think it's a major win. And Kawhi Leonard has absolutely just found it. He's absolutely found it, and he's stayed healthy. He missed the first 34 games of the season for the Clippers, but he's played in 21 of their last 25. He's looked really, really good on the court this season. In the Clippers' overtime win against Golden State on Sunday, 33 points. Very efficient. 13 of 20 shooting. Also, postseason Kawhi is a thing. Playoff P? No. It's postseason Kawhi. We saw what he did with the Raptors. In his playoffs career, he's averaging 29.3 points, a 63.3% true shooting in over 60 playoff games from 2017 to 2020. That is not a small sample. Those are elite numbers. And yes, he's dealt with injuries, sure, but he's fresh. He's been efficient. The Clippers, they've had a really, really good defense all season, really a good to verging on great defense all season, but it's the offense that makes them, I think, a sneaky, sneaky title contender now. They have the league's number one offense over the last 21 games, 123.6 points per 100 possessions. That's elite. So you got a Clippers team that's D'ing up, that's scoring, and I think that the big X factor for them is Zubats, because like Joker, he has the fourth biggest on and off differential, with LA having been 12.8 points per 100 possessions better with him on the floor. And that is going to be a factor for them too. Who scores, who contributes when he's off the floor. So yeah, I'm very fascinated by this matchup. I'm taking the Clippers in this one. I think the Clippers win in 6. And as much as I love and respect Joker, you got Russell Westbrook and Payne Watson, my guys. You got Jamal Murray and that squad. I think the Clippers, they're peaking at the right time. You have stars healthy. You're good on both sides of the court. You have a championship winning head coach in Ty Lue. I think the Clip show is going to win, and it's going to be in 6 games. I got the Clips in 6. I want you to throw out a you need a pick. I need a pick from you, Noel. And J-Rod, if you can step into the mic too. I need a pick from you.
No, like I see the hype about the Clippers right now. I see Kawhi Leonard actually being healthy. James Harden put together that incredible performance against the Golden State Warriors. But I mean, I don't think we can trust the Clippers. I don't think we can trust Kawhi. Kawhi Leonard hasn't been healthy in the playoffs for 3 straight years. James Harden, great regular season player, but long history of not performing well in the playoffs. The Nuggets will have the best player on the court every single game. Jamal Murray's healthy now. Aaron Gordon has been looking like a star in recent weeks, so I'm gonna go with the Nuggets.
I'll give how many games? How many games?
Nuggets in 7. It's not gonna be easy, but
seven,
Nuggets in 7.
I like the 7-game series. You sound like a biased Laker fan.
No.
Who's a Clippers hater?
You know, but here's the thing I'm gonna say. The Clippers have had better teams in recent years. This team is not better than the Clippers of past.
And what's crazy is that this wasn't the dream Clippers team that Steve Ballmer thought of. It's almost happening a couple years later than they had hoped. But it was always going to be about, like, James Harden is not a number one that can lead you to a title, right? Paul George's not a number one that can lead you to a title. Kawhi Leonard on his best day has proven to be a number one that can get close to leading you to a title. J-Rob, let me get your pick.
I'm taking the Clippers in 6 games. I think the Denver Nuggets defense is abysmal. I think nobody's paying attention to how bad they've been defensively. I love your guy, Russell Westbrook, for his career Hall of Famer, but he doesn't really work well into that system. They're going to ask him to play considerable minutes, and I don't think those minutes that he's going to provide are going to do enough. They lack the wings defensively. And, I heard Noel say that James Harden doesn't play up to standard into the playoffs, but I think we forget that he's played pretty well in the playoffs up until he has to face the Warriors, and then Chris Paul is hurt. You know what I'm saying? So, he's shown that he can get it done. And listen, Kawhi Leonard looks like he put that HGH or whatever in his knee, and he's looking quick. So I'm going to go with the Clippers. I like Ty Lue. I like the coaching matchup too. I mean, if Ty Lue can't beat a guy who's been coaching for 4 games in his pro career, then I don't know what to tell you, but I give the Clippers a real shot at this. I'll take them in 6 games.
Yeah, I think Clippers, Steve Ballmer going crazy, losing his mind at the Intuit. I like the Clippers this one. Now, switching gears to college football. Nico Iamaleava. We talked about him a couple of days ago, and we mentioned on this show that what I heard was that UCLA was a dark horse, that they could sign him, and all reports right now are that the Bruins have landed the top transfer quarterback, Nico Iamaleava from Long Beach. His brother was previously committed to UCLA and ended up going to Arkansas. And what makes this really interesting is you look at the money part of it, and it was said that he was looking for $4 million and that he wanted to go to the highest bidder. And now it turns out that you're looking at $1 million to $2 million in that range for his services. And his family's coming out saying that it wasn't all about the money. So I love this, not because I'm a UCLA alum that's never experienced any modicum of football success. The last major bowl win for UCLA was 1986. UCLA's really been one of the big sleeping giants. Yes, they did beat USC 8 times in a row in the 90s. They made it to a couple Rose Bowls, and that 98 team, they were undefeated until they lost late to Miami. But I think the bigger story here is not about what UCLA is getting. Deshaun Foster, former NFL player, he's certainly building something in Westwood. I think the bigger story is that this is the new era of college football where players have that power. You don't have to sit out a year when you want to transfer. You get right into the portal, and it doesn't matter what guys like Josh Heupel, the Tennessee quarterback, is saying, that the Tennessee head coach is saying about the quarterback. Now, Josh Heupel came out and he said, no one is bigger than the power T, meaning the T in Tennessee. And he said, even including me. And he was making some quotes just about Iamaleava, who missed meetings, who was said to not be happy with the deal that he agreed to, which is fine, for sure. I mean, you sign a contract, you should probably honor, right? But even though they agreed to pay him $8 million over 4 years, if you didn't like the situation, if you wanted to see what your value was in the open market, it's your right to do that. And I think that what people aren't mentioning in this, and what I've heard, is that Iamaleava, he got assurances from Tennessee that they would improve the offensive line and add some better receivers. And that did not happen to his liking. And guess what? You got leverage, man. You got leverage. there are at least 20 teams that'd be willing to pay this guy $1 million to $2 million, right? You got leverage. Use it. If you ever have leverage, use it. And if they didn't improve the roster around you like you had hoped, if they're not giving you the money that you had hoped, hey, Knoxville is nice. It ain't LA. Tennessee's cool. It ain't UCLA. He's going to be a star here. 6'6", hometown kid. He threw for 2,616 yards, 19 touchdowns, 5 picks. But you pair him with UCLA's new offensive coordinator, and it's going to be a fun offense there. It's going to be a fun offense with Tino Sinceri from Indiana. The Bruins doing something. I can't even believe it. But I do think the bigger picture here is all this. Hey, you know what we're not going to do here? What we're not going to do here is make it seem like these kids, these college players are doing things wrong because they're trying to do what's in their best interest, whether it be put themselves in a situation they feel is better to have more success and set themselves up to be a better draft pick or get some more money on NIL. I mean, it is an interesting landing spot because Tennessee is a better program than UCLA football right now. But I like it. It's exciting, man. It really is. And if you're UCLA, I mean, this definitely puts you in a position that we've always noticed about UCLA. Like they're a sleeping giant. They have alums that are willing to spend. I believe when I see it, though. I mean, the UCLA is in the Big Ten, but I'm excited to see Nico at UCLA. Then next, quickly, the Kings general manager. The Kings general manager is out. He is out in Sacramento, and Monte McNair, after the Kings got absolutely blown out by the Mavericks yesterday in the play-in game, they decided to part ways. And it was a season-ending loss to the Mavericks in the play-in tournament. And in a statement announcing the move, McNair said that this is the Kings saying, I want to sincerely thank Monty for his leadership and the invaluable contributions he made during his time in Sacramento. That is coming from Vivek Randiveer, the Sacramento Kings owner and chairman. We go on to say he helped build a strong foundation for continued success here, and we wish him and his family the best in their future endeavors. And then Monte McNair, he tweeted out, 5 years ago, I was given the opportunity of a lifetime. I'll always be grateful to Vivek and the entire Kings organization for taking a chance on me. The Beam team brought so much joy. That is so cringe, by the way. The Beam team brought so much joy to so many. Thank you to the players, the coaches, and staff who played such a vital role. So, look, the Kings are kind of a rudderless boat of a franchise that decided to trade for Zach LaVine, pair him with DeMar DeRozan, and you have Domantas Sabonis. But I think for me, McNair and Vivek, they took what was a emerging franchise, a top 3 seed, to the third oldest team in the NBA in over 2 years. Think about that. A 3 seed to the third oldest team in 2 years. You took a lot of assets away to create the Bulls West. I guess that's what getting cooked by Clay does to someone. And I want to bring my man Noel. Does it surprise you at all? And what do you think about the direction of this Kings franchise?
And it's looking a little bleak for sure because you had that culture. You finally found something with De'Aaron Fox and lighting the beam, making it to the postseason, actually being competitive, and then to see your franchise player look to the San Antonio Spurs, look to a year 2 player and think like, that's the only spot I want to go. After one of his best friends, Malik Monk, just came and signed in free agency after he's paired with another really, really good player in Domantas Sabonis. It doesn't look good. I saw a joke that Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, instead of getting bounced in the play-in at 4:30, they wanted to get bounced at 7:30. So they teamed up on the West Coast.
I like that. That's I love that.
The Kings, they had a really long stretch of not making the postseason, of just being in the lottery. And it looks like that might be the direction once again, because DeMar DeRozan, probably their best player next to LaVine, said that, and Sabonis said that this has been the most taxing season of his career. I mean, the man got traded from his home, from Toronto. So that really says a lot.
Absolutely. And this is a franchise that made the decision to move on from Mike Brown, to move on from De'Aaron Fox. You got older I think we're in a position where, hey, if you're going to move off of De'Aaron Fox, I'd prefer just a rebuild and get younger, try to find that superstar, because as much as I love Zach LaVine, as much respect as I have for DeMar DeRozan, that's not the answer to contend, right? The blueprint is get you a top 5 to 10 player, and that's where it starts, right? And they are not those guys at this stage of their career. And the Kings, I think they're kind of suffering from Jerry Jones-itis, and that is when the owner is way too involved in your decision-making. Hire the right guys and get the F out of the way. I covered the Dodgers. We had Stan Cass on the show. I asked him about the Guggenheim Group. They're richer than all these guys. They never make decisions. They never throw out players' names. They hire the best in the game, and then they stay the F out of the way. That's how you have success in modern sports. Okay, switching gears. A sad news story today. Lee Corso, the iconic college football analyst for so many years, really popularized College Game Day with the mascot heads. Here's him wearing Brutus Buckeye right here. That was actually the first one that he ever put on. The last one will be this year, though. Lee Corso has announced his retirement from College Game Day. This is a big deal. This is a big deal because if you ever watched this show, it's still a great show. It's still awesome with Pat McAfee, but it has not been the same since Lee Corso has taken a reduced role. And ESPN said that the location for Corso's final College Game Day, scheduled for Saturday, August 30th, will be determined at a later date, but it is going to be Lee Corso's last show. Corso turns 90 in August. He debuted on ESPN's college football pregame show in 1987. His first headgear pick was Ohio State's Brutus Buckeye in Columbus, Ohio. That happened on August 5th, 1996. Now, if you're not a college football fan, I'll just tell you what it means. It's like basically wherever they go at the end of the show, he makes a pick, and instead of just saying, hey, I got Ohio State, he puts on their mascot's head. And it's always just been a great thing for college football. They're going to miss him for sure. They released a statement. My family and I will forever be indebted to the opportunity to be a part of ESPN and College Game Day for nearly 40 years. I have a treasure of many friends, fond memories, and some casual experiences to take with me into retirement. ESPN has been exceptionally generous to me, especially these past few years. They accommodated me and supported me, as did my colleagues in the early days of College Game Day. A special thanks to Kirk Herbstreit for his friendship and encouragement. And lest I forget the fans, truly a blessing to share this with them. ESPN gave me this wonderful opportunity and provided me the support to ensure success. I am genuinely grateful. Yeah, I'll never forget his line. Not so fast, my friend. Yeah, it's going to be sad. No more Lee Corso on College Game Day. Now, switching gears, talking about Trae Young a little bit. Now, Bill Simmons on the Bill Simmons podcast. I have a funny Bill Simmons story. One time I saw Bill Simmons in public, and I had his book. I was reading at the time, The Book of Basketball, and I went up to him just in IRL, kind of like a stalker creep. And I was like, hey, Bill, could you sign my book? And he said, sure. And he was like, who's your team? I was like, I'm a Laker fan. I love Laker. And he's like, all right, I'll sign your book, but I'm going to do it in green, Celtics green. And he pulled out a green Sharpie and he signed my book. But yeah, Bill Simmons, I don't know if I'd be doing this job if it wasn't for Bill Simmons. Been a fan for him for so many years, for sure. But Bill Simmons has floated the idea of the Atlanta Hawks trading away Trae Young. And I think with Trae Young, we know that he's a star. He's basically the best player that the Hawks have had in 2 decades, right? I mean, who's the best player before Trae Young? I mean, that they've had Al Horford. I mean, who really can you think of?
Josh Smith.
Smith. Oh my God. Jay Smooth with the headband. Dominique Wilkins. Yeah, it's been, Dikembe Mutombo, Mookie Blaylock. It's been a while since they had a player that was of Trae Young's caliber. But I think the question is the direction of their franchise. And he still put up numbers, 24.2 a game, 11.6 assists. Has there been an efficient score, 41% from the field, 34% from beyond the arc. But I think the number one kicker to me is they owe the Spurs 3 unprotected first round picks for the next 3 years. So unless you're going to trade with the Spurs and to get their picks back, it doesn't make a ton of sense. And Atlanta, they look pretty okay until Jalen Johnson got injured. I don't think it's all for naught. If I'm the Hawks, I think that you're trading away a player that puts butts in the seats, that feels like an iconic Hawks player at this point. You're not going to win a title guaranteed, and you'll just be kind of looking for the next Trae Young, the next star to kind of market your franchise with. I still think they should keep Trae Young, but what do you say? Noel, would you move on from Trae Young? It's tough because like he's not like your prototypical efficient, like Atlantic, analytics nerds, people like myself that like kind of like look at stuff that I think I'm like overly relying on it when kind of evaluating players, kind of look at Trae Young and they don't put him in the like the Jason Tatum class and guys like that because of his inefficiency. Still a fun player, brings fire, has a brand. I would be reluctant to move off of him if I were the Hawks.
Yeah, I think the thing with Trae Young is the Hawks, they got to spending early in his career. They got to spending on veteran role players. They brought in Clint Capella early. They brought in Bogdanovic. They brought in a number of different wings because they saw he was able to make that Eastern Conference Finals run. They saw he was able to perform on the biggest stage, go at a team like the New York Knicks, create that little rivalry there. But I think when you look at it, you compare what he's done since that Eastern Conference Finals run to other people in his class, other people in that same talent level. And I mean, you start to think, how many years have you been in the play-in tournament? How many years have you been one of the lower seeds in the Eastern Conference when it comes to postseason teams in a conference that really isn't that competitive? I think that's where the Hawks might look and think maybe it is time. And I know Trae, he's kind of hinted at wanting to leave in the past. He's hinted at wanting to join a team like the Lakers when they were looking for a point guard or other big markets. And, a team that comes to mind that I'm watching right now in the postseason is the Orlando Magic, because they have a great team. They have a great young core, a lot of good forwards, but they kind of have a number of point guards that haven't taken that next step yet. And maybe a guy like Trae could fit in a situation like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point. I mean, you got to think about it from his point of view too. I mean, does he want to be there? Does this, I mean, it's not like this is coming from them, right? I mean, but it's kind of speculation surrounding them. And I think he's comfortable there. I think that he's embraced there. I wouldn't do it. I really wouldn't. I mean, I would keep Trae Young and try to build around him and just try to see if you can put a piece or two. I think I'd move over for guys like Capella and those kind of guys and kind of focus on the additive players they do have. But how about this? Hunter Wendelstedt, umpire, got absolutely drilled by a 90-mile-per-hour fastball. It's definitely a scary scene to see Hunter Wendelstedt get drilled by a fastball. He's at first base and just gets absolutely smoked on this one. Just a very scary moment. Happened at the top of the 7th inning. Met center fielder Tyrone Taylor. He connected on a foul ball that struck Wendelstedt at first and instantly just sends him flying to the ground. And both Taylor and the Twins right-hander Luis Varland, they just winced. You see him here and immediately looking at this 53-year-old umpire that definitely got drilled. I think, look, I mean, he's in 28th Major League season. Sometimes it's you'll see things you'll never thought you're going to see before. And fortunately, it looks like he's going to be okay. But look at this. So it was a boop. Just got hit right in the head. First of all, I think we'll start to see umpires wear helmets at this point. Throw on the helmet. Get safe. Make sure that this doesn't happen again, because the last thing you want is something serious to happen. And with these hot shots, is definitely something that's possible. But Hunter Wendelstedt drilled by a 90-mile-per-hour baseball. Okay, last thing here. I saw this. There's a list of the greatest athletes of all time without a ring. And at number 1, they had Barry Bonds. Had Bonds 1, Dan Marino had 2, Ken Griffey Jr. had 3, Randy Moss had 4, Connor McDavid had 5, Mike Trout had 6, Bruce Smith 7th, Barry Sanders 8th, LaDainian Tomlinson 9th, and James Harden at 10th. First of all, James Harden and Connor McDavid and Mike Trout, they're all currently playing. I think who I would add to that list, how is Charles Barkley not on that list? I mean, Barkley definitely deserves to be there over James Harden or LaDainian Tomlinson. So it is interesting, though, to not have other names like Bo Jackson or Tony Gwynn, Allen Iverson, Ted Williams, I think, to me, would be the number one guy on that list. So, look, all these guys, it's a team sport, right? But Barry Bonds definitely deserves to be number one. I will say that. Barry Bonds deserves to be number one. He did play in one World Series, the 2002 World Series, where the Giants lost to the Angels. I'll never forget. He hit that big home run, and then they showed Tim Salmon on the Angels in the Angels dugout, and he said, "That's the furthest ball I've ever seen hit." And it was an absolute moonshot. He was absolutely roided out of his gourd there. But that is Barry Bonds. I would say I would consider a little different list, because I think Dan Marino's okay at 2. Ken Griffey, it's a solid list. It really is. But I think that LaDainian Tomlinson doesn't need to be there, and James Harden doesn't need to be there. I would definitely consider putting Tony Gwynn, maybe even Megatron on there, Calvin Johnson, Bo Jackson. I mean, the man played 2 professional sports, doesn't have a ring. So I think he definitely at his peak was incredible. But yeah, the best athletes not to have a ring. Thankfully, the greats that we saw in recent years kind of pick one up. Shohei Ohtani got a ring. LeBron has his rings. Kobe's got his rings. Who's someone right now, though, do you think, Noel, like one of the greats? Like, I mean, like the NBA, I mean, Jokic has got his rings. I mean, Chris Paul not getting a ring. I think Chris Paul playing all 82, that one hurts. I mean, Russell Westbrook not having a ring, that hurts. But yeah, anyone that you can think of?
I mean, yeah, I think it was so much fun watching James Harden do his thing back in Houston, and during like those 2017, 2018 years, it was super unfortunate seeing that even when they had those good teams, Chris Paul went down with that injury, and they were the one team that was battling with that KD Warriors team. So for me, it's going to be Harden, and he's with the Clippers right now, like we were talking about earlier. So how
about Luka? Luka needs a ring.
Oh, Luka's got time though.
I hope so. We always think that, but thankfully he's got time. He's in a organization that knows how to win titles. But that's going to do for this episode of The Big Lead. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Special shout out to my producer, the great Noel Sanchez. Go follow him as well. Noise by Noel. And until next time, I'm out.